Sean Payton, I mean, they were on the hook for this whole tampering thing because they were talking to Sean Payton.
For like 2 years. They wanted Payton for 2 years. I think they went after someone else, and that didn't work out. They definitely wanted Gable, but they didn't offer him because they were trying to wait on a big name. Yeah, McDaniel's like the fourth guy, so it might actually work. As they didn't want
exactly. The reason this team, this franchise, would be inclined to have success is because it wasn't their idea.
Yeah, exactly.
They wanted to dump Tua, probably in the worst way.
Yeah.
So when he wins the MVP this year, I mean, the reason it'll have worked out is because the Miami Dolphins didn't want to have anything to do with it.
They were all in on Watson. And now see what Watson's going to be. This is going to be a whole disaster all year long.
Yeah.
Tua is a consummate pro who they didn't want, so he might work out with the coach they didn't want, so they might work out like gangbusters.
That's the one thing that really gives me rise for hope, though. I mean, if you've been watching this franchise over the last 20-plus years, you talk about fueled by self-sabotage.
Yes.
That is.
That's true.
Your Miami Dolphins. That should be on the billboard. Miami Dolphins, fueled by self-sabotage.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this fine Degenerate Friday. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz here on South Florida Live with you till 9 o'clock this morning. And then, of course, we have a little after hours where today, I believe, if this works out, and I think it will, we are going to actually interview a sitting U.S. Senator. That's right. Lubie, with his affection and his affinity and, wanting to support all of the platforms of Marco Rubio. No, he didn't invite Rubio on the show. We're hoping it's year out with Rubio. It's about time. Is that true? I saw something posted on social media by Val Demings that she was ahead in the polls against Rubio. Is that possible?
Yeah, even in Fox polls, she's ahead. But again, we know what polls mean. We know what polls mean. We've all learned. We don't worry about polls. But it's interesting. It'd be interesting to see an actual race where Rubio doesn't just walk into another, 2 years, whatever.
Well, who's he been running against? I mean, how did this guy beat anybody? That's one of those things where you look, maybe you play some schmank in tennis and a guy who has no game whatsoever and he somehow ends up winning. And you're looking at yourself afterwards and thinking what a complete and utter failure you are as an athlete. And you're asking yourself, how on earth could I lose to this guy? But it happens, and I don't know. I don't know who he's beaten in the past, but let's hope there's a possibility there. No, Patrick Leahy. Is he a kicker for the Jets?
Yeah, doesn't it sound like it?
Yeah. Will be joining us on our Believe podcast later on, so we're looking forward to that. Longest sitting U.S. Senator, is he not? John Conyers, I think, held that title for a long time. He was like 100 years old, and he was in office. And I remember like in the third grade, we had to do some political science project in the third grade, and I think I was assigned to do something on John Conyers. And now I'm 71 years old, so think about that. That's like 60 years ago. And the guy just checked out not that long ago, I want to say. John Conyers, remember this guy?
Yeah, I know that.
John Conyers. I think he was somewhat reputable. I don't know. I don't remember what I said about him in the third grade. But it probably was a very intelligent and well-thought-out approach to analyzing his political career.
Sure.
In this case, this is an easy one. Rubio is a clown, and we're hoping that this Val Demings wins. But Leahy's going to join us on our Believe podcast later on. So we do delve into a little serious politics. I don't know how serious we'll get, but he was around. He came into office in the hippy-dippy era of like 1974. So this guy's been through a lot. He's seen a lot of change.
Yeah.
Just talking with this guy. We only have like 7 minutes with him, but I don't know. Is that enough to get into the evolution of politics over the last 50 years? Probably not.
I'm not
He
trying
does
to.
it in a book, though.
Yeah, I just want to hear his story, the stories he's had. He's been around a lot.
Has to be very interesting, huh? I mean, wow. I mean, what a large array of various presidents that he's been in the Senate, while they've been in office, including, of course, the last one. That was a real Looney Tune there. And I'm starting to sense that maybe, I don't know. I mean, everybody's waiting for the Trumpster to announce that he's going to run for president. Are there odds on that? Because, with this mounting pressure from the legal system, why hasn't he just already said, hey, listen, I'm running for president, and that's it, right? You would think he would already have put his hat in the ring, as they say, but I don't know. He may be putting his fanny in the can. instead. It's kind of interesting the way this whole thing is playing out. I mean, whether it's the documents, the Georgia thing, the business with the tax evasion in New York for his company, where you have to think that CEO is about to say something about old Donny Boy, that maybe he's getting a little bit, as the doctor says when you come in there and he's about to do something, actually administer some kind of treatment. Mr. Lubitz, you may feel a little bit of discomfort. Yeah, like a high, hard one right up your rear end. I mean, here you go. Why'd you just shove a brick in there? All right. I think this is going to be big today, and we're going to get into it pretty quickly because we have an array of people coming on the show on a Degenerate Friday, and we're back to like a full-blown Degenerate Friday cast here. We've lost touch with Jersey Kyle. I don't know where he is. Last thing I saw from him, he was in New Jersey. But I don't know. Does he ever make a comeback on the show? What do you think, Louie? You think he ever buys a computer and gets into the modern era here, or does he just say forever that I had enough time? What do you think?
I could see the Pauly man before Jersey for some reason, even though Jersey's actually less inept than Pauly. Pauly seems more engaged than Jersey. Jersey seems like he sort of moved on. I don't think Pauly man has. I think Pauly man still would love to be involved. He just is Pauly man. Jersey, I feel like he has moved on and is not really thinking about
being on shows anymore. Yeah. No, those Deal Volkswagen checks dried up, but no. you believe that's at the root of it? Capital? I don't think so. What happened to friendship? What happened? I don't know. All right. Well, we'll see maybe down the road. Every now and then I fantasize about having that situation come back around and having Kyle join us on these Degenerate Fridays. But I believe today is going to be bigger than the release of the Britney Spears Elton John collaboration. Where and that's drawing headlines all over the place, right? But what are they doing? Rocket Man? I mean, they came out to do a duet together. Tiny Dancer, is that the song that they did together? Tiny Dancer, yeah, Tiny Dancer. I'm an Elton John fan. I was when he first came out. Look, you can't deny that this guy's an incredibly talented performer, and always seemed to be on. I don't know. Has he been involved in any negative controversies, Elton John? I don't think so. What happened, man? I mean, nothing indecent with little children or anything. No. Okay, because we wouldn't want to embrace or condone that.
Hold Me Closer, a redo? Is that a redo? Hold Me Closer.
Okay, yeah, Tiny Dancer, whatever that thing is, right? Isn't that the song? Hold me closer, Tiny Dancer. I don't know. I'm not up. Sorry, I keep rubbing my eye here. I got something in my eyeball here early this morning. I think it was sunscreen, believe it or not.
Oh my God!
Kind of, in case I get too much, ultraviolet ray from these lights that are shining on us here. What am I doing with sunscreen in my eye? I don't know. I don't know what that is, but I got some kind. I feel like Muhammad Ali in I
can't see.
What was that? The fifth round against Sonny Liston, 1964, Miami Beach Convention Center. I can't see, Angie. I can't see. Dundee has great stories about that, or he did before he passed away, and it was always great hearing anything about Muhammad Ali as Angelo Dundee told the story. Because you know what, Lubie, he was there. He was there for all of it, and he was great. Anyway, I believe this is going to be a huge show, bigger than the Britney Spears release with Elton John, because that is all of the headlines on all of the news shows, Entertainment Tonight. They're all going crazy over the fact that Britney Spears and Elton John have teamed up and collaborated to have a new release, and it's the first new release for Spears, I think, in centuries. She had that hideous, onerous thing going with her father, where her father was handling all of her finances. What was that all about, Louie? Because they deemed her crazy after she shaved her head. Don't shave your head, Louie. Because once you do it, there's no turning around, right? If you shave your head in some kind of erratic manner where, it's not like by design, it's just like all of a sudden out of nowhere, you show up bald somewhere, not good. People will think you're crazy, and they'll let somebody else, even though they're like Tank Black probably was more fair to his clients than Britney Spears' father was, in taking care of her financial wherewithal, which was substantial. And she was getting doled out like peanuts. Scraps. And that was it. And finally, I don't know, how did the courts hold on to that for as long as they did? They finally released her from this, and now all of a sudden she's singing again. She's got residency. She's okay, married, kids. A lot of stuff is happening that's favorable. But it's all going to be favorable on this show because the return of Mark Lawrence today. Wow, I'm very excited about that. We love Mark Lawrence, playbooksports.com. He's been in this game as long, it's odd to say longer than anybody. I don't know, but Wow, he's been doing this for the longest time and was way ahead of his time in all of the various equations that he comes up with and formulas and mathematical permutations that help him decide the outcome of sporting events, or at least give you a general idea. Look, you're not going to win 100% of the time. Everybody knows that. You're not going to win 90% of the time. If you win 60% of the time, you end up being a winner.
Yeah, that's good.
To beat the juice, to beat the rake, to beat the vig, you pretty much have to hit at what? What is the rate? Like 55%? Something like that? And so it's a grind. People don't understand. Everybody thinks you're going to make this giant quick score. But in gambling, it's a grind. It's how you do consistently on a steady basis. And you're going to have times, no one is a bigger proponent of this. Probably one of the most profound things that he ever said, Brandon Lang, among the many things that he said, the great Brandon Lang of Two for the Money fame. Although the professor is not a fan of Brandon Lang. Have you noticed that?
He's become more of a fan. He's become more of a fan. Before he joined us, Lang did a lot of that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And Lang's actually been solid on his picks with us. So the professor's sort of come around to him since he's joined us.
Well, and he has great conviction. And one thing about Brandon Lang, he's not inclined to tell you, well, you know what, we went 1-15 yesterday, but that one game was our $100,000 game. He doesn't do any of that nonsense. He doesn't try to cover up for his mistakes. If he goes 0-5, he tells you, you know what, I took one right up the ass. I went 0-5 this week. In fact, he'll describe it in much more graphic terms than I did, which he has in the past on the show, which got a little dicey on the radio when we were doing terrestrial radio there, because, the people weren't necessarily in favor of our material and, the concept that we had for a program anyway, and they were especially pissed off when it got into elements of depravity when talking about losing at what is now, I mean, think about this. One of the stations we're on became known as, what was 1230 The Zone? Now it's 1230 The Gambler. Think about that. Yep. And they were mocking us for concentrating too heavily. Do you talk about anything else? No, that's all there is, right? It's pretty much all there is. So we're going to hit it with the Greek is going to join us on the program today. The professor will have the big board. That's always a highlight. Mark Lawrence returns with his handicapping gems. And, at the very least, you get some kind of guidance. Maybe you don't agree with what these guys are saying, but at least you can help formulate your own opinion. And, it's a polyman theory, speaking of the polyman, the double dot theory, which is if you like a certain angle in a wagering proposition, and then somebody that you have great respect for also shares that same opinion, that's the double dot. Go ahead and check that off. And if it turns out that you lose, so be it. But at least you did it with somewhat of a conviction. And that's Brandon Lang always has conviction about his picks and sound logic behind them. But everybody has their own way of interpreting, the material that's out there, which is what makes this whole thing so great and what makes DraftKings and FanDuel so rich. Because everybody's got their own opinion. Opinions are like, the aforementioned assholes. Everybody has one. But we're going to try and help you formulate some opinions. The Greek is going to join us here. Been hot on the preseason. Now, one thing about the Greek, though, he doesn't often embellish his selections. I really wish he would get into that a little bit more. Greek, if you're listening, we need some logic. You come on the air and go, I like Green Bay, I like Detroit, and I like Philadelphia. Okay, guys, see you later. We got to milk that for a little bit more than that. Huh? And how about some rationale? So we'll have it. The Greek joining us in just a few minutes here on the program. The professor always, college football is his game. And we have a slate of college football games. Lubie says 11. I only see like 7 that are listed with prices. So a couple of them must be so bad that even the New York Post was too embarrassed to put the odds in the paper in the Post line, which they feature every day. Nice little box here. It's one of my go-to things right there, where they give you the lines on virtually everything, and then they continue that. See, this is a paper that, at least from the sports section aspect, you can have the right-wing politics and wipe your fanny with it, but the sports section always delves into odds, including today. Odds and ends. U.S. Open. They have the U.S. Open odds here, which I think is as wide open an event. I wouldn't know who to give you in the U.S. Open. Would you, Lubie? Oh, you don't follow this that closely, but Iga Swiatek is the favorite, and she's 4-1, but she's kind of come into a little bit of a slump where she's now very beatable after winning 37 straight matches and like 6 straight tournaments. Simona Halep is the second choice. She doesn't usually get that far. Simona Halep been playing well under Patrick Mouratoglou, who was a big friend of the show, or became a friend of the show during the pandemic. And what do we have? We had like 4 or 5 interviews with Mouratoglou. And he took over the reins with Simona Halep, and she's had good results ever since.
Nice.
Coco, you're getting 14-1. I don't see Coco winning the U.S. Open. Do you? Interesting prospect is she just won a tournament, Caroline Garcia. Caroline Garcia, which you could probably get odds on this. If I told you, to name the nationality of Caroline Garcia, what would you say, Lubie?
Mexican.
Spanish?
Mexican.
How about French?
Really? Okay. Maybe her mom.
It's an interesting one. Last year's champion is 18-1, Raducanu. Sabalenka, who never manages to get over the hump but has phenomenal ability, Serena-esque type of power, but has all kinds of problems. I guess, I don't know. Maybe she's not totally focused, but 18-1. Rybakina, who just won a major, the last one at Wimbledon, 20-1. Getting all kinds of great odds. Naomi Osaka, I think, has no shot. Serena's 50-1. They threw Serena a softball. They threw her a number 80 in the world in the first round. A woman that's more known as a doubles player than a singles player, and I believe they did that in an effort to get her out of the first round.
Yes, some steam.
She plays the second seed in all likelihood in a tournament in the second round, but this is also a woman who's in a bit of a mini slump. The second seed is like Conviet or something like that. And I was never a giant fan. I didn't understand how she had worked her way to like number 2 in the world. But every time I see her, she's losing. And so there is a possibility that Serena, if she can get it together, could go all the way to the third round in this one. I don't know that I'm willing to risk everything that she's going to get knocked out in the first round, which, you would think would be appropriate because she comes in ranked 407th in the world, or unranked. No, she is. She's like 407.
I believe you. It's valid.
She's won one match in like a year.
I know.
And that was a life and death bloodbath against some qualifier. Unbelievable. One match. So I don't know. 50-1. Anybody that's putting money on that, it would be a dream story. I mean, can you imagine coming off the slab basically and going out, tying the all-time mark for Grand Slam victories by winning the U.S. Open? Not happening. I would give that 0.0 chance. Does she get out of the first round, no, Lubie? Those chances have been enhanced. Yeah, but, I'm going to stick to my guns and say no. She finds a way to lose this match. They tailor-made, custom fit an opponent for her. Somebody that likes to bang away from the baseline, doesn't have a lot of patience, and isn't going to run Serena around the court all day because she's just going to be firing rockets from the baseline. And Serena's okay in those kind of exchanges. So when she has to move 2 feet to the right or left, that all of a sudden she just doesn't have it anymore, which is sad to watch, man. It really is like watching the mongoose, Archie Moore, in his latter years as a boxer. I don't know if you remember the great light heavyweight champion, Archie Moore. But, he was fighting at like 50. They were throwing him in there against Rocky Marciano and anybody they could find. Okay, bring in Archie. Let him take another beating. All right, the Greek going to join us here in a few minutes. He'll have some selections. He's all over this preseason football, and you say the record is very impressive, right, Lubie? I haven't been able to really. I think we've only been on once. At least I have when the Greek was on the show.
He was on last week with me. He's 18-7-1 overall on his South Florida live.
What's wrong with that?
That's great. What are you talking about?
Who's giving you like that kind of win percentage? 18-7-1. The Greek going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. Always a gas there to catch up with the Greek, especially since he's been going through a transformation for what it seems like the last 7 years.
It's been a year and a half. 7 years.
He was rolling, this kid, and all of a sudden he was down in the dumps, and now I think he's back. So good. We love the Greek, and he's going to join us in a few minutes. Then the professor joins us. Mark Lawrence makes his return after a brief hiatus there during the baseball season with his football selections, college and the pros. And, of course, the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, joins us later on in the program as well. And we'll have some stuff. He's still doing a sandwich thing. I did make arrangements for next Wednesday. We will be at the Lauderdale by the Sea store of La Spada's Original Hoagies.
Nice.
Gail suggested, who owns the La Spada's, Gail and Harry, she says that never mind getting like the giant monster, thing that would be like catering, you would break this out if you were in the suite at say a football game, and they have the 12-foot sandwich. She
Uh-huh.
said we'd be better off just getting individual stuff. That would be better. That we could try more variety this way, and it would be probably more appropriate to rate what's going on at La Spada's. Not that we're rating the place. We just want to see Mayo eat.
Yes.
See, I thought we were going to put him in front of like a 12-foot sandwich, and he would eat the whole thing to culminate the month.
Make him sick to his stomach.
We've already killed him a couple of times, but he has a little bit. It is Death Wish 4 with this kid. We love him, Mike Mayo. I mean, he's a go-getter, actually. It's kind of interesting because we didn't know he had the kind of business acumen that he's displayed so far in putting together Mike Mayo's lunchbox. He got after it and is doing a great job with that thing. It airs on South Florida Live and also on the Let's Eat South Florida Facebook page. And now branching out, what is that Broward County thing that we're going to be a part of?
There's a lot of we already are. Oh, Visit Lauderdale. Visit Lauderdale.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very nice. That's good stuff. So that thing's growing. That looks like a very worthwhile project that we've undertaken here in South Florida Live. But we're worried about Mayo because if he keeps eating like he's going to the chair, he will be essentially putting himself in his own version of the electric chair. It's called diabetic coma, man.
Exactly.
How does he do it? He's incredible, right? I eat one thing and I put on 5 pounds. I mean, if I take a bite of a knish, boom, it's over. All right, we're coming back with more. Hialeah Park, I have to tell you, man, weekends, always great. Hialeah Park, talk about wagering. Another jackpot. I think I saw one taken down for 78 dimes at Hialeah Park just the other day. 78 dimes on one of the Royal Reel machines. Unbelievable. They're doing a great job there because you have a chance to win. There was nothing worse than the ice-cold nature. I love New Orleans. I love the freebies at Harrah's, but they're hardly freebies when the machines don't pay out a dime. When nobody can win, not even the Queen of Slots. The Mustang had one minor hit, and that was it. And me, I mean, just straight out the door. I never sat down on a machine and cashed a voucher for more money than I put in. Even my favorite game, they returned the 5-cent Dream Card game, which I was in love with at one time. And even that cost me 3 sticks over the course of 3 days. 100 here, 100 there, 100 there. And you're thinking, that's $300. I could have given this to some bum and made his life. But no, I had to stick it in a machine that I knew nothing was going to happen except this money was going to evaporate. That's not the way it goes at Hialeah Park, and that's why it's such a beautiful thing. You're in there with a shot to win, and that's what they want for you. Champion simulcasting room, we got the Travers coming up on Saturday. I think a wide open and sort of dynamite field of 8 going postward here. And it's not the giant field that you would like to see, but 8 real quality animals going to the post. 3-year-olds that have been batting all throughout the season. We didn't have a Triple Crown winner. We had individual winners of the 3 Triple Crown races. The Haskell also went to Cyberknife, who won one of the prelims there. I believe it was the Arkansas Derby. And just a lot of credentials for the 8 entrants in this race. I don't think there may be 1 or 2 horses you could probably put a line through, and even that might be at your own risk. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You can bet that at Hialeah Park, and that's coming up on Saturday. And then always the poker is in action, and, of course, all of your favorite Vegas-style games. Great food and drink all over the place. Terrific atmosphere. It's just a lot of fun. About as well-run a casino as you'll find anywhere in the world, and certainly numero uno here in South Florida. Make your plans to be at beautiful Hialeah Park. Get a player's card when you come through the door. It entitles you to one of the best rewards programs you'll see. And in the whole category of rewards, Hialeah Park among the leaders in the way they treat their customers. That's the way they've always been, and that's the way you'll find them the next time you visit beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, coming up with the Greek and then a host of others here on a Degenerate Friday on South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. Hopefully we'll give you some winners or some winning ideas, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
How is Anita Marks? Nothing against this woman. She's probably a very nice person. I've had, acquaintance-like contact with her over the years, but how is she picking games for ESPN?
Won it for years.
Based on what? I mean, did she ever gamble in her life? I don't think so.
Right.
I never heard a person. This is a person I never heard mention gambling ever, and all of a sudden she's your expert gambler, as if Hank Goldberg had come back from the grave. It's 7:25. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Don't let them talk you out of stuff like that, Greek. I mean, that's a mistake. You know that.
I know. I made a mistake
Yeah,
last
you're better
night.
than that, Greek. Come on.
I know. I was out to dinner, and I actually made a mistake. I said,
If you didn't let anybody talk you out of the marriage, how could you let them talk you out of Detroit?
Oh, God, Defo.
Your best
that
bet.
is so perfect. That's a T-shirt.
We are back with Defo and the boys. It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A few snags there. Mike Lubie cleaning up some things as we welcome into the program here on a Degenerate Friday. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, and always a pleasure to welcome this gentleman to the program. When we met him, we thought, wow, this man is a degenerate, and yet doing it with an element of class and dignity to it that wasn't common to most of our friends. I mean, he was, hanging out at the Wynn there with Steve Wynn and whatever baby happened to be with at the time. And, we were at the track, at the Breezeway Bar, hanging out with Larry the Leaper and a bunch of sycophant schleps that were hanging around with our friend from Deal Volkswagen, hoping that he would peel off a few hundreds and say, here, guys, leave me alone. But we welcome to the show the Greek. And the Greek is still featured on 1230 The Gambler there, 3 to 5. In fact, he is the station. And you can catch him there. And now you can catch him here on Fridays, our Degenerate Fridays. Greek, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, Defo. How are you? Good to hear that you're in the studio. I know you're a big traveler now. You're all over the place. You're like Lady Gaga. Every time I call in, you're away.
You know, it's funny, but these inducements are too impossible to turn down. Remember how hard it was to get a comp room? I'm sure you've been called many times by various people. I think even I have called on you a couple of times to say, hey, Greek, can you hook me up a couple of rooms in Las Vegas? And even though you were the highest of high rollers, you would call your casino host and you go, what? For that schlep, Greek? I got nothing. But now, I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, the Mustang has achieved a stature on the rewards program for Caesars that is reserved for like Mike Francesa or Hank Goldberg or, some high roller. And so they're constantly sending us offers to go places for free, including airfare. And this last one to New Orleans, it ended up costing me $1,500, but nonetheless, theoretically, it was free. So, yeah, that's why I've been traveling a lot. Freebies.
Freebies.
Yeah. You're crushing it. This podcast thing is making big money.
It may not quite be the case yet, but it's getting there. Yeah. $1,500 I lost. What are you talking about? $1,500 out the window there in a freebie. And then I don't know if you've flown Southwest Airlines at any time, but I can't imagine that you're a fan of open seating, Greek. Open seating. Where,
I used to fly Vegas. Vegas, I used to fly Southwest. It wasn't bad. You know, you duke somebody when you get in, they give you a good seat. You duke everybody.
I wore a pilot's uniform, and I still ended up in the back. I mean, that's how crazy it was. I was carrying one of those little black, cases.
Yeah. I have duked people at an airport and stuff like that, and it has changed things. I was at a restaurant 2 weeks ago, right? In Fort Lauderdale. I'm not going to say the name of the place. I walk in with a couple of my friends from Vegas. They were here. And I said to girl, we need a table. She goes, we're pretty packed. And I looked at her and I go, all right. She goes, unless you want to take care of me. I go, what do you want? She goes, I don't.
Where'd you take her? Into the ladies' room? I mean, what'd you do, Greg? Your car?
She said to me, I want $40. I said to her, 40, I'll give you 20. And she took it. So she sat us down. She comes back later, talks to me a little, and I said to her, what's with that? And I said, I introduced myself, and I saw her face. I did know the owner. I told her I wouldn't tell him. I said, you can't shake people down in front of people for a table.
Yeah.
I don't know. She said, I just had the thought that you were the kind of guy who would pay. I said, all right.
You do look like the kind of guy that would pay for it, but see, and then you delved into like a more conventional means of paying for it with a woman, and you ended up paying dearly. So you were better off before when you were just going for those high-end hookers.
You're right. I was better off. Yeah. My marriage was like the bad pig.
The bad pigs.
No, I've been telling people for years. There's recently a post on social media talking about what would you name a boat if you had one, and I always was going to name mine Horses and Divorces, because if it wasn't for those two things, I would have had the boat far sooner.
Right. But you don't learn. You go back to the well, which I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like up against some receiver. You strike out 3 times. You go, let me go up in the ninth. Don't put in a pinch hitter. And you strike out again. That's what I love about it.
They bring in Kuzman from the bullpen. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. And I turn around and bat left-handed against them. All right, Greek, you've been hitting it, man. I mean, the people have nothing but mad respect for you in your 18-7-1 documented record here on the show. And Lubie's been keeping track. To what do you attribute your success? Because we always thought you were completely insane. Much of this has been based on preseason NFL football, which,
like 80%.
As inconsistent as I would say it would be to try and get an edge or an angle on what was going to happen in a preseason game in the past, I think it's even more helter-skelterish now when you have no idea who's playing. I mean, now some of these starters are going to play in the third game. They didn't play prior to that. I don't know. How are you getting a gauge on what's going on? Just strictly through coaches? What's the angle there, Greek?
I read a lot of different things, quarterbacks, who's playing, who's not. I've always done pretty well in preseason over the years. Teddy Covers got me into it years ago. This week we're going to go one college game. We're going to go with a college game because of a line movement, and we're not going to pick preseason because I think it is pretty helter-skelter for the last game.
Okay.
I know Brady's supposed to play, and the Browns are supposed to play a lot of starters, but I'm going to go with Vanderbilt -7 over Hawaii in college football.
Vanderbilt -7 over Hawaii. I believe that game is in Hawaii.
It is.
And that line has climbed, though. I have it here, unless it went down. This is probably yesterday's line in today's New York Post. It has Vanderbilt 9 and a hook over Hawaii. 9 and a hook, my friend. Yeah. Does that change your opinion of this thing?
No. I mean, they weren't going to win by 8 anyway, so we'll go with it because that line came out in May, and it was about like 3, and it keeps going up and up and up. SEC team, so we'll go with Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. All right. Do we know anything about Vanderbilt? Hawaii, I would think, would be especially tough at home. since they don't have to go anywhere. And I mean, can you imagine being a college kid? You, as a college kid, Greek. I mean, if you're a star quarterback and you land in Oahu, are you kidding me? I mean, I know you're going straight to those scantily clad, grass-skirted babes that are down there on the beach or serving drinks at the hotel pool.
Of course, but you know what? I mean, it is about who's got a better team. I think Vanderbilt does have a better team. They're an SEC team, and that line's going up for a reason. So I'm going to go with Vandy. I'm not going to change.
Okay, I mean, is that going to be your only play? You're showing extreme discipline here if that's going to be the only bet that you make. I know you've kind of been easing back into this thing after, I mean, an unfortunate experience at Gamblers Anonymous or wherever that was that you were holed up.
I was never in Gamblers Anonymous, please. My God. Maybe a Gucci sale at an outlet, but never in Gamblers Anonymous.
You're not buying any knockoffs, Greek.
How many are the Browns playing this weekend?
The Cleveland
5 and a
Browns.
hook. I see 5 and a hook.
5 and a hook. That's what I have. 5 and a hook. 5 and a hook.
All right, let's take the Browns.
Okay.
Over the Bears? I mean, they're very determined, the Chicago Bear team, no? Preseason Mavens?
Talking them into it.
The Bears are – I mean, they won last week against Seattle, but the Bears are a bad team. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Bears.
Right. They got that impasse going with the linebacker, which I don't believe has been resolved yet. Not sure how that's going to play out. Okay, so you said you were going to stay out of it. You said you were going to stay out of the preseason of the NFL, but you can't resist, Greek. Now, are you inclined to just bet first halves?
You're guilting him.
A little bit. And again, I mean, this is for your audience. I mean, how do you not bet the Ravens again? They keep winning and covering every week.
Yeah. My God, it was unbelievable. It got a little dicey last week. The only reason to watch any preseason football is to see if the Ravens can sustain this streak, which I want to say is now 22 straight that they've won. 22 straight preseason games. It's either 21 or 22.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And they've covered in all but one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's definitely does it, and he wants to win these games, and I think they'll win again this week. So we'll see. That's not gonna be a pick, but I think they will win.
You would think that you would have to play into an enormous line, unfavorable line, if you like the Ravens. Which don't tell me. Can we find them here? Are they underdogs this week? I'm looking. Here you go. 6-point favorites over the Washington Commanders. 6-point favorites. What do you think?
A tie for preseason. I won't go against them. It's not going to be a play, but I wouldn't go against them. How do you go against 23 in a row?
Oh my God!
You know
well, what's funny too is, they were up like 21-0 in that game or something, and all of a sudden it got dicey, and the opposition had the ball and was driving it down the field, but they must have held on. I actually almost watched that game to the end just to see if Harbaugh would hang on with the Ravens, knowing that was one of your angles.
Well, again, like I said, the last week of preseason, I'm not going to go much preseason, but I do like Vanderbilt. I'll go with the Browns.
All right, very good. Are you making any public appearances anywhere? What's going on with you, Greek? You're out at Gulfstream? What's happening? Are you going to be out there celebrating the Travers?
We're going to do Greek Gridiron again down in Boca by your place, Strike Cigar Lounge. That's
nice.
Yeah, right by where you like going to that biscuit place, right in that same area.
I'm heading up there tonight. Yeah, that's going to be great. Maybe I'll run into you, Greek. That'll be fantastic.
Oh, good. I'm parking cars there tonight.
Very resentful of the valet system there. I'm not a fan of valet parking that somehow has overtaken what normally was just a free and available public parking lot, where all of a sudden they like commandeer like 20 spaces. And that happened at the Funky Biscuit, whatever's going on there. But that's Boca for you, right, Greek? People expect to get robbed.
They charge you You know, Boca, the flags are only past mast when they're out of Botox.
Exactly.
There's like a hairpiece tax too. I mean, if you're wearing a hairpiece in this particular mall, you have to pay like an extra couple of bucks just to circulate. And believe me, they're making a killing on that. All right, Greek, we love you, and we'll catch you 3 o'clock today on your show on 12:30, and that's got to be on like the iHeart app, right?
Yeah, 12:30 Gambler and Real Radio 92.1 today at 10 a.m.
Nice.
Are you still doing that too? Oh my God!
Yes, he's all over the place.
Yeah, of course.
Is Johnny still around, or is he long gone? Did he get victimized by his station going in another direction? Which was, we're going to have the same show, but without you.
No. He left 2 years ago on his own accord. He's doing very well.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, no, he was a good guy, big fan, and he was the king of the long introduction.
He liked you.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he was. He was great. He loved it.
He'd be on schedule to be on for like 15 minutes, and he took 14 of them with the introduction. Then you go, "Hey, how you doing?" And you go, "Fine," and that was it. Okay, thanks. We got to go to a break. It was great. All right, we love you, Greek, and it's always good having you on the show. Good luck, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, your official play. Vanderbilt laying 9 now against Hawaii. That is the Greek 18-7-1.
Yes,
A real character, very colorful character. The Greek. He sounds like he's back. Got his mojo back, doesn't he?
that's good.
Remember, he was depressed there for a long period of time. I mean, publicly, obviously, he didn't want to make a big deal out of this, but you could tell in his conversation he was just really down, right?
Yes.
No, he sounds like he's back. I mean, he's bopping along there, doing very well for himself. And I didn't realize he was still double barrel action on the radio with that real radio show that he has out of West Palm Beach. All right, that's the Greek, and we have a lot more to cover here, a lot more ground to cover. The professor going to join us. Just a few minutes on the show. We'll have the big board. The professor's first college football plays of the season will be unveiled here, much like the Spears. This is very Spears, Elton John, is it not? As we blow the dust off the professor's college picks and also the return of Mark Lawrence. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, later on, although we're not sure what kind of condition Mayo was in. He sent us well, you guys were out with Nikki Mohan yesterday on South Florida Live.
Yeah,
Mike Mayo's lunchbox. Now, and it was what, an Italian deli where it looked like they served you 100 sandwiches.
It's Italian market that also is a restaurant, and the real deal Italian. So they kept bringing us out pasta, and they brought us out some seafood thing, and they brought us out pear wrapped in prosciutto, and they brought us something with an octopus, and some other pasta, and then 2 sandwiches, and then 3 desserts.
Now, is Mayo under any kind of restraint?
Oh, no. Mayo was he... Nikki ate a little. I didn't really eat it all. I took home for
You've changed, Lubie. You have changed. You are a different man. I mean,
we're there.
You used to be the first guy to slobber down the food and ignore all responsibility, get the stuff, smear it all over the equipment. It was disgusting working with you.
Thank you.
It wasn't quite as bad as Harvey Fialkov. It was one of those spray hitters, which I was sitting next to, a gentleman the other night, and he was spraying food all over the place. And I was like, you had to either duck or get a bug shield, something. But Mayo's become that guy. You used to be that, and now you're the model of decorum there. I mean, you would be right next to Emily Post, pictured under the etiquette rules as following them properly, whereas all of a sudden Mayo feels like, hey, it's open season on being a slob. It's incredible.
Nikki will eat, but she's using the fork and the knife. Mayo just puts his face in. The way you describe eating that crab sandwich is how he eats everything. Even with a
He's
fork.
like he's in one of those contests where you have to finish something off with your hands tied behind your back, and you stick your face in a pie. Like he's in some country bumpkin eating competition. Unbelievable. All right, he's going to join us later on, and he'll probably have a pick in the Travers. I don't know who he likes. He loves Cyberknife. He loves that horse.
Yeah, help save his
And
mother's
Florent Giroux, and of course, we have a great affection for anything that's connected to our dear friend Kate Bradar, who we probably should. I don't know. We probably should have had her featured sometime this week. Although the Travers is a field of common competitors. I mean, these guys have been banging heads throughout most of the season. Many in the same races, including those that are coming out of the Jim Dandy, which had a field of 4. But I think all 4 of these horses have returned. Those horses have returned, I think, to be a part of this field in the Travers. So, but anyway, I know he likes Cyberknife a little bit, but I'm not sure if he's going to play him. He also had early voting. Very appropriate, since we're going to talk to Senator Leahy later on our podcast. Early voting, which we're hoping the early voting is an indication that maybe there's a shot here that we turn Florida around. Is that possible? And come out of the Stone Age with, these Attila the Hun type philosophies that are depicted by our local politicians, state politicians. This Ron DeSantis scares me. He really does. I might even prefer Trump back in office before they put DeSantis in the president's chair, no?
No, they both are bad. Both of them.
It's a bit of a stretch. All right, the Professor coming up next year. The Professor, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, great place to go if you're looking for a destination in the Keys. Unbelievable. Mile marker 104 on the Overseas Highway. Great food, great drink, great atmosphere. Pool scene is fantastic. They have the sports bar. It was renovated now about a year ago. And everybody raves about the conditions in there. But I like to sit out there at that bar there. They have plenty of television screens. You can watch all the college football. And what better place? Jimmy might even stop by. And he'll just hoist a couple of cocktails with you and start celebrating the fact that Nick Saban is losing. Unbelievable. I don't think he's a big Saban fan. Do you?
I don't think he has a Saban dislike. I know he's friends with Belichick. If he can be friends with Belichick, he can be friends with anybody.
Belichick's a different guy than the person he portrays. That's often the case, right? I don't know. Is Parcells like that? No, I think Parcells is always like he was when he was at those press conferences, belittling the poor schlep that had, a stain, a mustard stain on his shirt as he was asking, Bill, did you really think that running the ball was a good decision there when you lost 5 yards there on that first and goal? No, he wasn't particularly happy with those people. Jimmy was okay with all of that because he could deflect anything. But big friends with Belichick because Belichick's like a wild and loosey-goosey guy outside of the environment of being the head coach of the New England Patriots. What do you think? Are you going to play that game, Louie? Patriots-Dolphins, week number 1? Going to go ahead and lay the points with Tua?
There you go. Probably. I would, actually, yeah.
Mac Jones goes for 500 in that ball game, and the Dolphins go down. They left scratching their heads, wondering why they traded for Tyreek Hill. No, it's going to be interesting. But look, if you want to take it all in, all of the action, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway, and you can check that out. And I think you will really, really enjoy it. We're going to be down there pretty soon with the show, and that should be a wild one because I think all of the characters from the program here in South Florida Live are going to show up. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that. The time. Professor already weighing in. I mean, anything with a Boston theme. I'm hoping he'll explain his absence last week because I know where he was. It's 7:47. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right.
Joined now by the Professor, showing no symptoms, Nick Saban. How threatened do you think college football is by all of this stuff? He's not the first prominent coach or named coach to be afflicted with this.
I mean, I think how threatened we feel like this is based on how many campuses Dan Mullen's wife is going to visit.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
right, one of the things that we're proud of here is we do stress accountability. If we give you a series of losers, we'll tell you. We're not going to try to cover it up or sugarcoat it by telling you, even though we were 1-10, that our one winner was our $1 million winner. And under those auspices, welcome back to the show. It's a Degenerate Friday. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, and we're looking for a little bit of clarity here because when Lubie told me that the professor was a no-show, my first instinct naturally was to think this was last Friday. That all right, so he probably was out late. Maybe there was no college football. It wasn't like he was watching some game that was being played in Hawaii, and it was 3 a.m, and he still had money on the line there in the final couple of plays. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I know exactly where he was. I can't believe it, man. Are you going to admit that you were at the Ben Affleck J-Lo wedding last week? And that you couldn't somehow make the arrangements to do the big board from Georgia?
Let me ask you a question, Defo.
Yes.
Did you read any report about a bomb at the Ben Affleck J-Lo wedding? Did you read any reports about a shooting or somebody trying to burn
car
the
being
place
driven
down?
into the procession?
But if you didn't read those reports, I wasn't there.
And now that you mention it, that would have been more appropriate to find out that somebody had driven like an SUV right into the place where they were taking their vows and mowed down several celebrities in the process.
That's where I was. If you read assassination attempt at Ben Affleck's wedding, it wouldn't be a bad assumption I was there. But if you don't read of any horrible reports, drunk man assaults Ben Affleck, then I wasn't there.
It would have been like the Rushdie stabbing. I mean, not to make an allusion to something that was particularly hideous, but
yeah, that was a bad one, right?
Yeah, it might have been a scene
I
similar
honestly,
to that. Though.
I wish some sultan over in the Middle East would put like a $3 million price tag on Ben Affleck's head. I would definitely collect on that. Like honestly.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, he doesn't really carry bodyguards anymore. He hasn't in years. He's been doing public appearance, and $3 million you haven't collected on that yet. I mean, come on, that's not good.
Was it only 3? I thought it was like 10 million. They had the bounty. I mean, it was a bigger bounty than Sean Payton what was putting on opposing players.
There you go. Maybe that was the plan. Is you should have gotten the defense after Salman Rushdie years ago.
Polyman was always
was it Brett Favre they took out in a game? I know they knocked somebody out. It was like one of the big incidents. I can't remember who it was now.
Yeah, I don't know. Polyman was always very fearful of any mention of Rushdie on any radio program we were on, or any allusions to any kind of activity in the Middle East. He said, just stay away from that because there's a pretty good chance there's a bounty on your head too. As soon as you say a word.
You really don't want to. Yeah, that whole royal family Muslim thing. You don't really want to aggravate those people. They'll come after you.
Yes. All right. What did you think? This is a political thing that's going on today with this student loan forgiveness, but. I got a pretty good response. It seems like most people were favorable to the idea that the next wave of financial forgiveness should be loan shark and bookmaking amnesty, where you don't have to pay any of these people off anymore.
No,
you were around when Eddie and Vito used to come by to see if their money was looking okay.
I feel like if gamblers were a big enough voting bloc to justify that kind of thing, we'd already have sports gambling in the state of Florida, so I don't think you're getting any loan forgiveness out of that. We can't even get a freaking app approved in the state of Florida. But you think you're getting your loan shark money back? Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for that.
Not happening. All right, we have college football.
Here's my political question.
Yes.
Go ahead. Hold on, I do have a political question because it plays into a previous big board. I don't know if you've seen it this week, but Ron DeSantis released a commercial where basically he's playing Maverick in Top Gun. Here's what I want to know.
I've seen about it.
If Ron DeSantis is now Maverick governor now, who's Iceman? Who's the dude in the background who's always uncomfortably close and looking like he's going to make out with Ron DeSantis at any second? Who's emphasis DeSantis is like, you can ride my tail anytime. And the other dude's
That'd be
like,
Marco
no,
Rubio.
you can ride
Rubio.
mine. I just like to remind you that the governor who's so upset about don't say gay, don't tell our children you're gay in school. How dare you mention your husband? Just did a political ad where he referenced the most homoerotic movie in the history of movie making. The only thing he missed was he didn't slather himself in baby oil and go play beach volleyball with one of his political associates. I'm sorry, if you're going to throw Top Gun out there, you got to deal with the consequences. Like I wanted to lose
I'm with you
Iceman, Ron.
1,000%. Yeah.
It's
Ronnie,
Rubio.
not my favorite. I don't know how this man has been empowered to the
Just
point
asking,
where
like, yeah. If
where
you're
he's about to be.
Iceman, if you're a Maverick, who's Iceman? Is it Gates? Because like he's not blonde, but he does sort of have that douchey Val Kilmer thing going, the overextended jaw and whatnot.
That was the big question on social media. Who is he douchey in this thing? And so it's a common theme. I mean, you're not alone in this line of thinking, Professor. Which, I mean,
Right?
it is an unusual, image to try and associate Ron DeSantis with. Let's put it that way.
Again, there's a lot of subtext in Top Gun that for some reason, I hate to say it, it's right. Don't seem to get. And again, as we covered in the big board when we did the Top Gun big board, it's not subtle.
Yeah.
Like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, there's a dude going around screaming, I want some butts. I want some butts. And then for the rest of the movie, they clear up that pretty much every pilot in the Navy wants some butts too. So, again, the movie is not subtle about this message in the least, but apparently at least one group of people didn't catch that.
Don't say gay, though. That's the name of the game. All right, Professor, college football. I know you're excited about this.
Throughout the entire movie.
This is your time of the year, Professor. How are you feeling about this week's?
It is. I got to be honest. This is not the most exciting week 0 card in history. It's not a terrible one. There's a couple of games that are probably going to be worth watching, maybe taking some action on, but it's not a great matchup. Unfortunately, on the two most playable games, we got some pretty line swings coming into the weekend, which takes a couple games. One, honestly, I thought was kind of playable. Now I'm kind of looking at the other side, and the other makes me not love it as much. And the one I don't love as much that I did like a week ago, and I personally bet it myself when it was under a touchdown, sat at 6 for a while. The Greek is right. The number on the Vandy-Hawaii game went from like 3 to 6 to 9. I did personally bet it at 6 in the run-up, but it's sitting at 9 now. Still like Vandy in the game. I'm agreeing with Greek on that. Vandy's talent profile actually, but it's less about what's right with Vandy and more about what's wrong with Hawaii in that game. Whereas, again, you're looking at an SEC school, you figure there's a massive talent gap, but it's Vanderbilt. So even though Vandy, I think College Football Insiders has them as like a top 50 roster overall, that's not really that impressive when you talk about SEC schools. But Hawaii, Todd Graham, coming off one of the most disastrous turns in recent coaching memory, long time respectable program, if not a great program. Todd Graham went in there. He changed the offense. He changed the culture. He didn't fit at all in Hawaii. And now they fired him on the brink of possibly canceling the program because they had so many kids transfer out last year. I had to go before the state Senate and argue to keep the program even alive based on money that Todd Graham got out when he left. Had 19 kids transfer, including 12 projected starters. Tim Chang, the new quarterback, who I think is the right guy, by the way. I think Hawaii needed to get a coach who understands the Hawaii football culture. But you have to assume he's going to move back from that power I to some sort of run and shoot type concept. And that's going to be a tough transition.
Did June Jones check out? What happened to June Jones? Where is he at? June Jones. Oh, he went mainland a while ago, right?
He's not.
June Jones? Is he dead?
Yeah, he left for SM to go, and he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's possible he's dead. I don't know what's June Jones.
It's possible he's dead.
Let's give it a quick look. See
Over under June Jones, dead or alive.
He's alive. He's alive.
He's alive.
I don't know what he's wise, but he's alive. Yes, he's living. He's alive.
Where's he at today? Is he coaching?
He is the offensive coordinator for something called the Seattle Dragons, which I have no.
Oh yeah, pro team.
It's the it was the XFL franchise, which I assume because The Rock bought the XFL, he's still there. I don't really know what the status of the XFL is.
Every time I think of Hawaii, I think of June Jones for some reason, and that was what? Like, was that 20 years ago, Professor? That he was there because he was at SMU for a little while. Was he not? June Jones,
give or take. Yeah, 20 years sounds about right.
What about the Hawaii factor, though? I mean, how much do you consider that? We always talk about the Hawaii Bowl, which I mean, all you need to do is have somebody on the scene to dig up which team is partying more. And especially when Hawaii is the home team, it's no big deal to them. I think we covered on that angle last year, where barely. I mean, we were dead wrong in our logic, but turned out that we were on the right side.
We've covered
on that,
Professor, a number of years, but I think that's more of a bowl game factor than it is a regular season factor, particularly an opening game season factor.
All right, so they get annihilated.
I'm sorry,
Hawaii gets annihilated in this game and loses by more than the even 9-point spread. Would you be confident in that?
I think Hawaii's going to get annihilated a lot this, and yes, I would take this week being one of those.
All right, our connection not particularly favorable. We apologize for that. So we do want to turn our attention though to the big board here, Professor. And we're, I don't know. I mean, if you're wearing at the Affleck wedding,
I do have another pick.
Oh,
okay. Oh, okay. Good. I don't know. You sounded like you had.
I overslept.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't care what the reason was. We just thought you were at the Affleck wedding.
No, I was not at the Ben Affleck wedding, and I resent that you keep slandering me like that. Frankly, I can take it with a lot of abuse that you like to give guests on this show, but I'm not putting up with that. That's no, I don't curse much on the show, but that's some bullshit that I just will not tolerate. That's a good way to get me to walk off. Is accusing me of being
fair. All right.
The Ben Affleck's wedding.
All right, we're gonna walk you right into your next pick.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be Jim Everett on the Jim Rome show, but then it's bad enough that I got to come on the show 3 seconds after you've licked Belichick's taint once again on the show. But I got to do that, and now you're coming on and accusing me of having a relationship with Ben Affleck, which that's offensive.
It would have been my first invitation if I was J-Lo. Yeah, I mean, I would have definitely extended you the courtesy of an invite. All right, what's the other game here, Professor?
Why would you do that? So she could pay alimony to Ben Affleck? Like, how's that a win for J-Lo? Nothing about this is a win for J-Lo.
All right, fire away. We're having some audio issues, so we want to get into all of this. So let's just go fire ahead.
The other game, which is sort of the feature game of the day, is Nebraska paying 11.5. Number was as high as 14.5 earlier in the week to Northwestern. I was kind of looking at Northwestern spot because Nebraska obviously last year found new and creative ways to lose, but now that the numbers look to 11.5, I'm kind of on the other side of this and looking more towards Nebraska. Obviously a very good defense last year, top 20 defense. I believe they were 14th or 15th in the country. And we're one of two top 20 defenses that managed a losing record, along with Auburn, 6-7 in the SEC West, America's most difficult division probably last year, and still managed an overall pretty respectable record at 6-7. Nebraska at 2-9 in the weak division of the Big 12 or Big 10, excuse me, with 12 teams. It's sort of an outlier record, and it was strictly because Adrian Martinez, week after week, found new and creative ways via turnovers, mostly to lose football. So, in theory, if you're Nebraska and you can clean up the turnovers, you ought to be looking at somewhat of a turnaround. Now, a lot are looking for kind of a drastic turnaround for Nebraska this year, and get into a bowl game and save Scott Frost's job. I don't know that it's going to be that dramatic, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him somewhere in line of a 500 football team, maybe a game over, something along that. if they're going to do it, they're going to do it via beating Northwestern to start this season. They did Northwestern last year as one of their 2 victories. I believe they hung 56 on them. Again, the rare game where Adrian Martinez didn't invent a new way to football. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and won this game big. I don't necessarily want to call this an official play because I wouldn't lay out on it if you're a unit player. I think this is strictly 1 unit play to kick off the season. But at 11.5, I've switched sides, and I'm leaning more towards the Cornhuskers in this spot, particularly at home. Northwestern's just a terrible football team. They were not. They have institutional problems at this point. The lack of recruiting has really caught up to them over the last few years. I don't anticipate the Pat Fitzgerald thing where he keeps bouncing back with a decent season off of a bad season. I think we're going to be looking at seasons in a row here for the Wildcats. So I would lean a little bit towards Nebraska at the 11.5. And since we always do 3, real easy, the Baltimore Ravens -6 in the NFL preseason. The reason? Because Baltimore Ravens never lose and always cover in the preseason. Like at this point, if you're not betting the Baltimore Ravens every week in the preseason, you're just a moron. You're just giving money away.
Which I, of course, passed on that when I was in New Orleans, and was very much available to me as, there were very attractive women standing outside the sports book there trying to lure your attention towards the idea that you can make a wager there. And I'm looking at the Ravens, and they weren't laying a substantial number of points. And, of course, they won again and covered, even though you had to schwitz a little bit at the end, which was unusual. All right, we have to get to the big board because we have a lot of things on the plate here today on a Degenerate Friday. And this is, of course, a highlight of our Degenerate Friday shows, The Professor and this week's edition of the big board.
It's interesting the way you started out the segment, Defo, because I do feel like just the way things are going in America these days that I needed to come on the show and scream at Lubie about his student loans and how he was a loser and a bum because he got some student loan money and I didn't get any student loan money because I never took student loans. That just seems to be the way things are going, is like I have to be physically upset with everybody who's getting a dime out of this student loan thing.
Yeah,
I kind of think there's actually bigger wastes of money in college football, including this new multi-billion-dollar deal that the Big Ten has signed for broadcast rights, which I kind of think is a waste of money overall because really, CBS, you want to, pay billions of dollars for the rights to broadcast, 5-2 Wisconsin playing 3-4 Purdue at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You think that's going to be the big ratings winner for you? I'm not certain that's the game plan that's going to work out, but we do have one notable thing, and that's in terms of money. College football coaches making piles and piles and piles of it these days, and that's
very appropriate.
Our big board this week, the big board of overpaid college coaches. And I should have put the word in. I didn't. We're sticking just to football this week. This is just overpaid college football coaches. And we're going to start with number 5. And you may or may not know this man's name. Do you know who Alex Grinch is?
No idea. Who's Grinch?
He was a DC at
Alex
Oklahoma.
Grinch was Oklahoma's defensive coordinator. He is now USC's defensive coordinator. He made the jump with Lincoln Riley to USC. And he no one's exactly sure. USC, as a private school, does not have to publish a contract. But the general speculation is that he is now the highest paid assistant in the country. And he's the only assistant coach on this board. And the reason I want to point this out is 2 years ago, Oklahoma was 108th in the country against the pass and 111th in the country against the run. Last year, Oklahoma was 61st overall. They had a respectable top 40 ranking against the run. They were 103rd against the pass. Now, as we have discussed in the past, I actually happen to think Nick Saban is underpaid. Like, if you can produce the results Nick Saban has produced, if Alabama wants to give you $50 million a year, I don't care. You make a lot more money than that for Alabama. But if you're going to be an assistant coach, making as much money as more than 40% of the NFL currently makes, I think better than having 110th ranked defense in the country. I know Oklahoma's a team, but the access to talent, if you can't have, let's say, a top 50 defense, I think your salary should be cut. And I sure as hell don't think you're you're going to be wanting to take you to USC with you and get a raise. Like, what the hell is the highest paid assistant coach in the country? Millions of dollars to be a rotten defensive coordinator. He could be your defensive coordinator. And if you gave him, I don't know, $250,000, he'd be very happy with that job. And
no doubt.
Honestly, what can he drop? Like another 20? He can only do like 20 spots worse than Alex Grinch did. So
yeah,
at that discount, that's not really that big a deal.
I don't know that the the parallel is there, because Lubie would clean toilets for $250,000 a year at Rahway Prison. I mean, he'd be more than happy to do that. Yeah,
I can get you 110.
I'm saying literally the worst you could possibly do is like 20 spots lower than Alex Grinch. He only did 20 spots above dead last.
Yeah.
And somehow that justifies the highest salary in the country. You could hire literally anybody. You could hire a monkey with a pencil between his teeth to draw up the defensive play. And the worst you could do is 20 spots lower than you already were.
Well, look at those athletes that were being recruited at USC that were sons and daughters of famous celebrities.
Exactly.
They didn't exactly have stellar credentials.
This guy could only take Aunt Becky's daughters 20 spots lower if he started them at free and strong safety.
All right, Alex Grinch starts us out today. Overpaid
All right.
college football coaches.
Number 4 is one I kind of regret doing, but I think it really needs to be pointed out here because this man now makes more money than Nick Saban does. He is now the third highest paid coach in America, and that is Michigan State's Mel Tucker is now the third highest paid coach in America. Again, I think Mel Tucker did a great job with Michigan State last year. Although in his first year, and point, you are by default in your first year working with somebody talent, and it's not like Michigan State killed it in recruiting this year. Third highest paid coach in America for a guy whose career record is now only 3 games above 5. Again, he might turn out to be a good coach, and I do actually get at Michigan State. If you want to keep a coach, you have to pay him a little because the off-the-field opportunities aren't there as they are at Michigan, or to say nothing of an Alabama or Georgia. Obviously, college coaches these days, the good ones can make more off the field than they do on the field. There's speculation that if you included the on the field, Nick Saban might be making well over $20 million a year at this point. But in terms of contract, Mel Tucker is now the third highest paid coach in the country. He's got 1 winning season under his belt. I kind of feel like that's getting into pretty extremely overpaid, particularly for a guy who lost to Nebraska the last year, who lost to the team that invented new ways to lose football games.
Holy Larry Coker. All right, very justifiable at number 4, Mel Tucker, Michigan State.
Speaking of guys, and this one I think is really more about the level of respect that he gets than the actual salary, because he is a top 20 paid coach, but he's not really way up there, and that is Pat Fitzgerald of Northwestern at $5.5 million a year. I believe he's the 17th best paid coach in America. He's gone 3-9 twice in the last 3 years. And again, the recruiting rankings pretty low. I know he went to Northwestern. He was a legendary player at Northwestern. There's that whole family thing. But if I'm paying you the 15th most salary in the country, I want better than 3-9. And let's be honest, I don't feel like the level of respect that is accorded to him by announcers and by the college football media actually lines up particularly well with the actual results on the field. And, again, 3-9 for a top 15 coach. Yeah, not so much, in my opinion.
Wouldn't think so. Not in back-to-back years. Now, wasn't it just a short time ago? Am I mistaken about this? That Northwestern actually had like a surprisingly decent season?
Yeah, that 1 year in between.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he a part of that?
In between the 2, 3. Yes, he's the head coach there. Again,
this
is the Pat Fitzgerald pattern. It's why he's actually respected. Is his teams are terrible, and then they're pretty good, and then they go back to being terrible again. If you do the ping pong thing, you actually expect Northwestern to be pretty good. I don't expect that to happen this year. And the thing is, when they're bad, they're really, really bad. I don't mind if you mix up kind of bad seasons or 500-ish seasons with good seasons. look, if you could do that at Northwestern, you are a top 15 coach. But this guy mixes terrible seasons with kind of good seasons. I don't know that year after year, that's an acceptable pattern to me. Plus, let's be honest, $5.5 million a year, you can afford a better haircut than this.
Number 3 on the big board.
I feel like he's
hanging
on to the I feel like he's hanging I've had this haircut since I was a college linebacker, and even though I've got the substantial hairline receding thing going, I'm not going to pay extra money to hide it. I'm not trying to be extra respectable as a coach.
Mike Mayo's clinic has this new thing coming out, the Mayo Clinic, where it just grows back your hair automatically. So it's great. He might be inclined to look into that. All right, that's number 3 on the Professor's Big Board. Overpaid college football coaches, number 2.
That takes us to number 2, and it's along the same lines, and that is Stanford David Shaw, who is the 5th highest paid coach in the country and has been terrible for the last 3 years, including last year where they kind of bottomed out. The recruiting is bottomed out. Again, this is one I kind of feel bad about because when David Shaw took over the program for Jim Harbaugh, he went on a very impressive run, but he's turned really bad and is super defensive about it. And I feel if you're making $9 million a year and you have gone on a bad streak, you got to be jovial. You got to be, hey, as long as they're going to keep paying me, I'll keep taking the checks. But yeah, not so much. I realize Stanford has got all the money in the world so they can afford to pay everybody what they want to pay. But at $9 million a year, David Shaw, I feel like you're overpaid.
You know what? I mean, it's hard to argue with that. David Shaw, Stanford, number 2 on the list. Now, we know you're excluding Nick. Does Nick not have a clause in his contract where he has to get a buck more than anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's always going to be the highest paid guy.
He's highest paid right now. It's 11.
No. That's not in his contract.
Oh, it isn't? Okay. I thought that was one of his conditions.
No, when he flirted with Texas, he became the highest paid coach in the country. But Nick Saban's realistic. He makes so much off the field and through ancillary benefits with Alabama that his contract is kind of an irrelevant. His actual contract at the University of Alabama for head coaching is kind of an irrelevant number in terms of his revenue string at this point. Again, it's never been published, but the speculation is not only does he make more off the field than he does on the field, he makes wildly more off the field than he does on the field. He's actually at this point, I believe, the 6th or 7th highest paid coach. At again, just over $9 million a year.
Now the new deal is over 11.
He makes 11, so much.
More new deal is over 11. He's the highest paid coach again.
Did he sign that this year? Okay.
Yeah, this week.
Just last week. Yeah.
It's 11.5.
Oh, okay.
This is hard to say. I mean, it would be like you endorsing something that was being done by Ben Affleck. But I'm watching an interview with Saban last night, and for a second I lost my mind, and I was listening and thinking, "Oh, okay, this guy's making some sense." And then I snapped out of it, whatever drug was influencing me, to think like an irrational, crazy man. I realized it's Nick Saban, man.
Can I just say?
Yeah.
I have to insert this into the conversation. Your bitter hatred of Nick Saban, combined with your borderline sexual love of Bill Belichick, is the weirdest combination in the world to me.
I have more respect for Belichick.
They're essentially the same person. They both had wild amounts of success, and the only difference is Saban doesn't cheat, and Belichick wildly does. But
at least we know through Jimmy, though. We know through Jimmy Johnson that Belichick does have a decent side to him, although we never see it. So I give him that, whereas I don't believe that Nick Saban has an ounce of decency in him when it comes to anything other than Nick Saban. And other than that, when he walked over that poor lineman who was passed out in the Dolphin locker room and they said, practice is at 1, it was like, get the fuck out of here, Nick. We don't need. And then he fired a few secretaries that I happen to know, and people that worked in the Dolphin offices in different capacities, just because they would say something to him. And he had this henchman come and fire him in his wake. Just an awful human being. So I give him 0 credit. Anyway, we have to get to the last one. No, we have to get to number 1 here. And
at least unlike Saban, unlike Belichick, Saban doesn't foist his mongoloid kid upon the sport as well. Let's get to number 1, because if you're going to pay a top 10 salary, and this man I believe is currently number 9 in terms of salary, I would personally have a few expectations. One of my expectations, actually winning a division. One of my expectations, actually producing a top 5 recruiting class every once in a while. And my most important expectation, not creating a Twitter profile in order to nail co-eds at the school. And that takes us to our number 1 most overpaid coach, and that is Boca Raton's own Joey Schwatter. Lane Kiffin, the old, who, by the way, is still apparently, based on pictures from his Twitter account, still living in Boca Raton during the offseason, because he posts all sorts of pictures on the boat from the Boca Raton. And really, again, at our always manages to fail himself forward, Lane Kiffin has now gone from FAU to one of the top 10 paid coaches and one of the highest profile coaches in America. The scary thing is, since he does still maybe have residence in the state of Florida, the scariest thought to me is that somehow Lane Kiffin is going to be our next governor. That would go.
He would win in a runaway.
We'll go through a few years of DeSantis, and then Lane Kiffin's going to get fired at Ole Miss, because he'll probably get them on massive probation and going to move back down here. And we're going to wind up with Governor Lane Kiffin, which will lead to President Lane Kiffin, which will lead to intergalactic overlord Lane Kiffin, because that's just the direction of Lane Kiffin's life. Fail yourself upward over and over and over again.
I have to sort of temper my thoughts on all of that, because he was a big fan of the show.
Yeah,
when we were doing a radio show, which
really?
we found out through Paul Castronovo. Yeah, that Kiffin met Castronovo, who's a much more popular and widely recognized figure than I ever was, and all those years on top on the FM dial there at Big 105. And so Casanova introduces himself to Lane Kiffin and says, I'm on the radio. And he goes, I always listen to that DeForest guy and that Lubie character. And so he was a big fan of the show, which
I would love to
that endeared him to us permanently. Yeah.
I would love to tell you that softens my opinion of Lane Kiffin, but it doesn't.
No, I wouldn't imagine it would influence you at all.
The worst of humanity, to be honest.
That's the only reason we like him. Otherwise, yeah, everything you said was true. I mean,
yeah, we don't fight you.
Not even. I mean, you don't even have to lean into too much exaggeration today, which is always great.
Your dad was a great coach.
John Robinson, yeah.
Monty Kiffin.
Monty Kiffin.
I thought your dad was a great coach. You're not, but your dad is fantastic.
I thought you were referencing Brett Tesser's always telling me my father looked like John Robinson. Which, I talk about a dignified guy, but that was a different era of coaching, man. Coaches had a lot more dignity back then, and maybe didn't have to take as much abuse. Were widely respected, and but Robinson was always a class act. There's no question. All right, that's excellent, Professor. Anything exciting happening? I mean, are you jumping out of your skin here, getting in action, or as you said, just kind of
I will be next
taking it
week.
easy, putting the toe in the water?
To use a Mike Mayo reference, this week's sort of the amuse-bouche of college football. There's just a
Mayo would say something
involved.
like that, yeah.
Not worth something necessarily jumping in with both feet. Do want to send a compliment to Mark Lawrence, who I've seen on Twitter a couple of times, getting shouted out by Kelly in Vegas. So that he's carrying a big profile. He might outgrow the show here on Twitter very quickly.
He doesn't abandon us, though. He's very loyal, this Mark Lawrence. That's another thing we love about him. All right, Mark Lawrence is coming right up, Professor.
The show, but like I said, have a great one, guys.
All right, very good. All right. Apologize for what seemed like a little bit of a technical difficulty there, Mike Louie Lubitz, which seems to be originating from Central Home Base.
Mine fine today. It's that mic the last now 3 weeks to month. It's done that, so we need to get him a different mic.
That was awful. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't want to sort of dilute, put any kind of dilution on the material there from the professor. All right, Mark Lawrence ready to go, and that's great because we wanted to get right into it. We welcome back to the show one of our favorites, and this guy's dynamite, and he's been doing it longer than anybody else, and he came up with a system of numerology that would even baffle Rene Descartes or any of the great mathematicians in the history of the world. I mean, permutations on top of permutations, always giving you a great angle on anything that's happening in terms of wagering, which is all over the planet now. He was way ahead of his time. We welcome to the show from PlaybookSports.com, the great one himself, Mr. Mark Lawrence. Mark, how are you, my friend?
It sounds great, Defo. It sounds like I just arrived from the Starship Enterprise. Of my time.
We said your return to the program was bigger than the release of Britney Spears, Elton John's collaboration on whatever that song is that they're doing together, which was headline news all over the place. And put the war in Ukraine back into third place. All right, Mark, how are you? How have you been? What's been going on? Tell us a little bit about what's been happening over the summer with playbooksports.com. Obviously, you guys are handicapping baseball and everything else. I mean, I would imagine you even have WNBA over-unders, but how's it been going? Tell us a little bit about the scenario.
The scenario is that we did put our Playbook Football Preview Guide magazine together in the off-season. Very, very popular football guidebook for people that are serious about cashing tickets throughout the football season. We've got that available on our website at playbooksports.com, and also our preseason football newsletter. And I'll say this, if I may, that that preseason football newsletter, if anybody's interested, I know there's only 1 week left and there's a full week of college football games on tap this weekend, but anybody wants to pick up a copy, you can do so free of charge. All you need to do is call my office at 1-800-PLAYBOOK, and we'll be glad to send you a copy of that preseason football newsletter.
And you know me, I'm digging that morning cup of coffee there, morning cup of Joe with Mark Lawrence. That is fantastic. Another newsletter type item that you guys publish. It's really just loaded with great stuff. If you're a sports fan, even if you never made a wager, it's enjoyable to read and very informative and educational. So appreciate that coming through my email every day. And I would imagine most people would really enjoy getting that as well. All right, Mark Lawrence, we're ready for some college football. How is it possible to establish trends and honor trends in week 0? Which you would think, as a multiplication factor, 0 times anything usually comes up with mush. But what do you think? I mean, are there some angles here that we can really explore in week number 1 on the college football slate?
Well, I believe there are, Defo, and one of them, we're going to call this our kill shot, if you will.
All right.
And what our kill shot is, we're going to be going to a head coach named Jerry Kill, the new head coach at New Mexico State, who has had some long-time success at other programs. Unfortunately, he's had some problems, some medical problems and issues, but he's resurfacing this year with New Mexico State. And he brings along some really, really positive numbers. He's gone 7-1 straight up in his home opening games in his career. And he's also, if you take a look at him, 17-8 to the spread as a dog of 8 or more points. So now he comes into this game in this particular role against a Nevada football team that is the second worst team in the college football this year in terms of returning experience. They lost everything in the offseason, did Nevada. Their head coach, their best player, they've only got 6 starters back. I think this is a good shot for a kill shot here with New Mexico State, and I'll grab them plus the 9 over Nevada on Saturday.
Why doesn't that come as any surprise to me that you would open up with a 9-point underdog as one of your selections? And it is, after all, Mark Lawrence, your favorite day. It's National Dog Day today. We're informed by our good friend Jim Sarney. So the dogs will be barking.
That's good to know. Yes. Right.
You don't celebrate this as if it was a national holiday? I mean, you, with all of the underdog selections you've made over the years here on the show, was still yet to pick a favorite. I think at any time. I mean, you've acknowledged a couple of favorites as being maybe, a lean or something, but never picked one here on the program, which is amazing considering that I would have to say, Lubie, of the 12 years that we've been doing this with Mark Lawrence, a large upside winning record.
Yes.
And almost every season, very much in the black. So not an easy thing to do. So I would imagine this is a big holiday for you. All right, New Mexico State. Or is it New Mexico? Let me see. New Mexico State. Yeah, New Mexico State over Nevada. And that's interesting, too, because a lot of people just see the names on the slate there and go, oh, well, Nevada's got to be a better team. But as you say, they've been decimated by defections there from the previous year. All right. Anything else on the college slate that stands out?
No, college slate, that's going to be it because we've only got 7 games and we don't want to put our toe too deep into the water on week 0. So, we'll test the waters with New Mexico State and look forward to something I think just as good in the NFL preseason final week on Saturday as well.
Oh, nice.
All right, if you were ever inclined to bet a favorite, would it not be the Baltimore Ravens in the preseason under John Harbaugh? Now shooting, I believe, either for their 22nd or 23rd preseason win in succession. And the word I had was that they only failed to cover in one of those games. Is that possible?
That's exactly what it is. 22
Wow.
and 0 straight up, 21 and 1 tie against the spread. He's been on a fantastic run. Yep. He's doing really, really rather quite well in that particular role. But we're going to take a look at another coach that is running toe-to-toe, if you will, with John Harbaugh in the NFL preseason. Most people don't realize this, but the Buffalo Bills are going to be taking 6.5 points against Carolina today. The reason they're taking 6.5 is because Josh Allen and a lot of the stars aren't going to play. But you got a head coach in Sean McDonough who is riding a 10-game straight-up and point spread win streak in preseason football games himself. He's the heir successor, if you will, to John Harbaugh, winning if that unravels. And we like him plus 6.5 against Carolina in this football game here tonight. I know they're going to give a lot of time to Baker Mayfield because he didn't throw any passes last week, but we're going to ride with the old coach factor here, and we'll take Buffalo plus the 6.5 this evening.
Is that the number one key for you in predicting or trying to anticipate what's going to happen preseason NFL football? Because he would be the antithesis, the antichrist of Marv Levy, who always was a significant play because Levy didn't give a flying one about the preseason and would routinely go like 0-4 and then take the team to the Super Bowl during that long stretch they had where they went to 4 successive. I would imagine if you looked up their preseason record, it was horrendous. And that was always a play. But, this Harbaugh thing's insane. And now, is there any chance, Mark Lawrence, that you began a $100 parlay in the first game of this stretch and are sitting on a massive fortune if this continues through this next game?
Well, we're probably thinking about telling Bill Gates to move over.
Imagine you're sitting on this. Would you keep riding this? How far do you ride that out?
It'd be incredible, absolutely incredible. But that's forethought, and we don't probably possess a lot of that right now in the gambling world. But it would be absolutely incredible. I don't know if you caught or saw, guys, about a story in college football of what may be the wildest bet that was made in the off season here this year, and it was 2 fellas, I believe, from New Jersey, and they bet $1,000 on a 1,000-to-1 shot to win the college football playoffs, to win the championship. And that wins $1 million, by the way. Okay, so you took 1,000 to win $1 million, and they bet on Utah State, which would probably likely come to an end in week number 2 when they go to Alabama. They'll be a 38-point underdog.
That's taking a shot, man.
We can all dream, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I saw some other absurd prop bets that were being made where a guy bet $1,500 on something that seemed like it had an impossible chance of happening. Oh yeah, this was in the NFL. And he bet that I think it was Will Fuller would be the leading touchdown receiver in the NFL, and the guy's not even on a team. I mean, so what happens when a guy shows up at the sports book and says, "Can I get $1,500 on this?" Which they usually cap, maybe 500. Some of these bizarre prop bets with huge odds because it isn't worth it for the casino. But is that one of those things where they actually call to the back room there? Hey, Lou, I got one.
Yeah, we've got a stooge here. Yeah, right, exactly.
But
you're going to be an over/under. To be an over/under in the amount of games he'll play, let alone leading anything. But nonetheless, another stab in the dark, to say the least.
All right, you're inclined to make some of these wagers, though, Mark Lawrence. Do you have anything out there on the table, like preseason prop bets of any type? It could even be something along the lines of season totals. Is there anything along those lines that you have a lean towards?
Well, what I like to do as far as preseason prop bets go is I like to wait until the horses are just about out of the gates.
Yeah.
At the very last moment, because I want to make sure that we're not playing on a team that loses their quarterback in the final week of the preseason. Player gets suspended, so forth and whatnot. So you want to at least know that your bet is going to be live at least in the first week of the football season. And there are teams that we've isolated in our preseason football, our playbook preseason football guide that I think are warranted to be, I think, upside type teams here. I think the Baltimore Ravens look to be a team that I will most certainly be playing, if not over their total, to at least win their division. I think they're going to be one of the more improved teams in college football this year. They did a home run job in the NFL football draft, and if you have a full season of Lamar Jackson at quarterback, I think that's makes a lot of amends for a losing effort last year. They would be one team that I would look at real strong and hard, and the other might be the Carolina Panthers. And the reason I'm saying that is not so much from a Baker Mayfield standpoint. He's going to help the team. But if you look at what they did last year, the Carolina Panthers, first of all, you got a head coach that's on the hot seat there right now, Matt Rule. And, he obviously is going to give everything he's got to keep and save his job. But last year, when this football team won 5 football games, their defense improved 54 yards a game last football season. And now you've got McCaffrey coming back as well with Baker Mayfield. I think they can be the sleeper team inside that South Division here, where I think Tampa Bay is going to choke out and not even win the division.
I love it. Mark Lawrence. Playbook.com is where you find his material. The preseason football guide is just, it's as fundamental as any textbook that you could have gotten while you're getting that $10,000 waive of your student loans. Hopefully that paid for some of that, but wow, this is an essential if you're going to go into any type of wagering mode during the regular season, and or have been so far in the preseason. Mark, always a pleasure, my friend. Good to have you back. We look forward to having you on our Degenerate Friday shows. It's always great. Playbooksports.com. And people, obviously, they need to get involved in getting this preseason guide, because the regular season's only like 2 weeks away, right?
Yep.
All right, we lost Mark
Exactly
Lawrence.
right.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
He's there.
You can pick up that preseason guide. Just call my office at 1-800-PLAYBOOK. You have a lot of good reading on tap for this weekend.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
You're a great American, Mark Lawrence. Fantastic stuff.
Hey, I'll look forward to catching up with you guys next week. Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.
All right, sounds good. He didn't get into any of those blue cheese theories or any of that stuff on the program today, but he is amazing, Mark Lawrence. Never picked a favorite on the show. Usually gives us like 4 plays a week. He has 2 for us this week to start us off. Pleasure to have him on. Known Mark a long, long time. As reputable as they come in this game. And not a guy that's like pushing, hey, my best bet of the week, cannot lose. Not that type of guy. Just giving you straight up information, and it's phenomenal what he comes up with in his numerical breakdowns. I mean, if you're into sabermetrics at all and believe in that, this is, the Bill James of degeneracy, I would have to say. Mark Lawrence, right, with the baseball abstract. Unbelievable. All right, we're coming back with the Gambling Gourmet. He's been stuffing his face. We love Mike Mayo, and he's doing a great job on Mike Mayo's lunchbox. He's come a long way with that thing, right? Would you agree with that, Mike Lubie? Come a long way.
I mean, especially if you talk about before I was involved in it, was just like you guys on Clean Feed. I mean, it's nice.
I'm not afraid to say it was a little schmanky, but we've elaborated, on many, many things here on the show, and kind of taking them to new levels. And Mayo's knocking it out of the park, so he's going to join us next as the Gambling Gourmet here on a Degenerate Friday, and we'll be back with Mike in a moment. Now that
The time.
8:39.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
Now that it's football season, it's time for cliche talk.
Yes.
It's like
Stu Dickman is going to take. That's my alter ego, Stuart Dickman, and the Stuart Dickman
So if
show.
you could run, so here's my encapsulation of handicapping every football game coming up this season.
All right.
If you can run the ball and control the clock, obviously you're in a good position to win. But also defense. You need the good defense because defense wins championships. Now, of course, if it's a really close matchup, it could come down to the special teams. And then when you get to the fourth quarter, it's all about who wants it more.
Yes, who wants it more? Good for you. That was the good capper.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to be with you. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. A Degenerate Friday continues here on South Florida Live, and always a pleasure to welcome this gentleman who's knocking it out of the park there with his noontime Mike Mayo's Lunchbox right here on South Florida Live and other platforms as well, including Let's Eat South Florida, the Facebook page that he started in conjunction with the Sun Sentinel, and it thrives today to the tune of about 86,000 subscribers. So obviously a very popular entry on the social media scene, as is this gentleman on the degenerate scene. Mr. Mike Mayo joins us here on the program. Michael, how are you? Are you all right? That's always my first question. Are you okay today?
Apparently I'm schmanky and schwitzy too, because I just took my little abbreviated walk of life, 2.2 miles. I'm gonna go back out after the show because I just need to keep working off these sandwiches. It's fucking it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm at 38.
38.
38 sandwiches now. Il Paisano yesterday. They smothered us, and you'd be proud of me, Defo, because I actually requested and ordered off the panini board there the Italian tuna salad sandwich.
Oh, yeah? How was it?
It was excellent. It was excellent. Yeah. So once you get that Italian canned tuna in the olive oil tins, and it's not the little it's good. It's a different quality of tuna. Of course, I turn my nose down to the pedestrian chicken of the sea or bumblebee or whatever the old Jews like you eat, but that's okay.
Nothing wrong with that, man. And it's not just an old Jew thing. I mean, seen Shixes eating tuna sandwiches, although they prefer salmon. That was always a big thing, the salmon sandwich.
So meanwhile, I'm grumpy because, well, first of all, I got
what's the matter, man? Were you beaten out of a superfecta or something?
Okay, first of all, so on the walk this morning, it's very, very brutally humid, and I'm just like the spigots are opening, and then I've got all these mosquitoes are like dive bombing me. I don't know where they came from, but on this walk, I was along the mangroves here, like in my neighborhood. It was just like wave after wave. So now I'm just like one big massive welt. It's so I've got.
I was going to ask if you had monkeypox because fortunately this is not the finest of high definition visual here. You do look a little schwitzy though. You're really
and I've been just getting pounded this week. So it all started when I thought I got out last weekend when I hit this last race trifecta on Sunday at Saratoga, 23-1 shot. It was a $48 horse, or that won over a 10-1 shot, over a 5-2 shot in an 11 horse or 10 horse field. I mean, this wasn't like some little field, and it's not like there was a 1-5 shot. It was like. And I did the math, and math wise, it should have come back like $1,600 trifecta for a deuce. So if you do the math, it should be at least $400 for 50 cents.
I was going to say the low end would be about 800 on that.
Well, again, and I have it for 50 cents. I just did a 50-cent box. my draw drops. It comes back $195 for
No,
50
come on.
cents.
That's impossible.
And I'm like, what? Because I thought I had gotten out for the whole weekend. I had kind of a rough weekend, and I thought it would be like, okay, get my 400, get my 4 sticks, and I'm gone. And no, and then that kind of just put me in a foul mood. And then every day I've been noticing and watching, like there was a race where it was like a $5 horse on top of a 20-to-1 shot on top of a 6-to-1 shot at Del Mar. That came back $160. That was with a $5 horse on top.
Yeah.
There was one at Saratoga yesterday where it was like a $30 horse over a it was like a 14-to-1 shot over a 20-to-1 shot over an 8-to-5 favorite. So it was almost the same scenario, except actually the lower art horse ended up winning instead of coming in second. Guess that one came back 980 for 50 cents. So I'm like,
no, you got robbed. There's no doubt about it. And this is the kind of thing that later on in life, if we live that long, but there will be an investigation, and they will discover it was one of those schemes on like that Pick Six Breeders' Cup scheme where somebody punched out a bunch of tickets after the race.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, you will never be able to have them make amends unless Biden addresses it in his second term.
I don't want any forgiveness. I just want to get what I'm due. Give the man his money.
No, you got robbed there.
I
mean, your jaw must have dropped to the ground when you saw that payoff.
I'm counting
paltry.
sticks on sticks. I'm saying it's going to be between 400. Maybe it'll come back 600. 23-to-1 on top is not. It doesn't happen every day.
The exacta could have been what that paid for 50 cents. I mean, the dollar exacta could have easily been 140 if it wasn't.
And
more.
Even that came back short. The dollar exacta came back only 160. And if you did the math, it's like 46 times 10. It's supposed to come back 460 for a deuce. It's supposed to come back, at least 230 for a buck. So something was definitely hanky. It put me in a foul mood all week. Gambling wise, I've just been running terrible. I am just fucking one pissed off puppy, and I'm going to try to crush the Travers tomorrow and just make it all.
All right. Well, what do you think? I mean, you like a couple of horses in there that you've cashed on. Cyberknife, I know, is a personal favorite of yours, with our great affection and affinity for anything associated with Kate and Bradar and the Florent Giroux angle, with Doug Bradar being his agent, and a very credible horse. And you had early voting in the Preakness, so you were all over that. So another one of your personal favorites. There has to be some inclination, not necessarily to think this horse was going to win, but to sort of root for Rich Strike if you're a horse racing fan. So this horse could dignify that 80-to-1 win in the Kentucky Derby. The trainer seems to be like a very cool cat. Everybody loves him. One of these down-to-earth guys that just has like an aw shucks. Yeah, I guess, we got lucky that day. But a very big believer in the horse. And then you have Epicenter, the back wheel special for me, which I think I'm going to back wheel again, and others. So what do you think, Mike Mayo? The Travers
I think
at Saratoga tomorrow.
It's a great race, and it's actually not a bad betting race because, even though it's a relatively smallish field of 8, it's quality. You can make a case for pretty much like 6 of the 8 horses in the race. I have my personal favorites, Cyberknife, because of the angle with my mom, and she was a recipient and beneficiary of Cyberknife treatment, and that's one of the reasons why she's still here and blessed to have her. And again, with the whole Florent and the Bradar family angle of Florent Giroux coming in to ride Cyberknife, so he's the one. For some reason, I didn't like Epicenter, and Steve Asmussen runs well at Saratoga. He looked absolutely dynamite in the Jim Dandy. There would be no reason to bet against him except for that he's 7-5, and I don't want to go down as a chalk eating pig. I want to take some swings for the fences.
You've eaten everything else. Why not some chalk?
So I'm going to do a 3-horse box and crush it. I think I'm going to do like a $10 exacta box tomorrow.
Woo!
$120.
Stepping
try
out.
to get out for the week or whatever. I mean,
a 4-horse $10 exacta.
No. 3 horses.
Right, that'll only run you 60, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Let's make it a $20. $20
there you
exacta box. 3 horses.
The old baseball, as they call it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the 1, which is the Cyberknife.
Okay.
Early voting, I like. I mean, he didn't run the greatest race last time, but he's listed at 8-to-1. I like the horse. I just think he's got, maybe he's going to save him something for later in the year, but I don't know. I'm going to go back to him. I think he's a quality racehorse. And then the other one is another Chad Brown horse who seems to be one of these late bloomers, Artorias, listed at 9-2 with Irad Ortez, the top jock in the Saratoga colony, listed at 9-2, and he's a son of Arrogate. and Arrogate obviously made a huge splash in the Travers. That was his kind of coming out party as a late bloomer. And I had money on Arrogate, so there's always a soft spot in my heart, even though it was for that cheating rat bastard Baffert. But it's okay.
You don't care that he was cheating as long as you cashed. Now, of course.
And this should be a very appealing box to you, Defo, because it includes the numbers 5
and 7,
which is Artorias, and 7, early voting, and, of course, your birthday, July 5th.
Yes.
So we've got the 7 and 5 in there, your 2 favorite numbers. You've also got the 1 in there. So I'm going to do a 157 $20 exacta box and just hope Epicenter runs up the track. However, I will do one more thing and probably do a $5 save or try key using Epicenter 6 over the 157. So it'll be a total investment of $150 into the race. Let's see what happens.
This.
My routine box is the 1, 5, 6, 7, 50-cent tries, and then the 5, 6, 7 come back over the top. And then hope the 7-5 exacta comes in if I was just going to play numbers. But unfortunately, as I've told you many times and said on the air many times, I mean, she may have been, just listening to the last word she could comprehend from me. But I did tell my mother, hey, Ma, why couldn't I have been born on another day? Because I've been playing at 7-5 my whole life. And it's been a disaster for the most part.
Tell you what, baby mama Michelle was born on a good day. She was born on January 24th. And you'd be surprised how many times the 1-2-4 box comes in. And I just can't bring myself to vote on it.
Why? Because you divorced her? I mean, she was the mother of your child.
You know what? Sometimes I can, but I usually it's one of those things. It's like when you bet Belly, he would be up the track. When you didn't bet Belly, he'd be running and winning by 10. Same thing with the 1-2-4 box. Anytime I do the 1-2-4 box, forget about it, and then I
and betting other people's numbers never works.
Yeah,
like whenever you bet somebody else's numbers, even though they win on them all the time, like Jersey Kyle had a thing with the 1-6, 6-1.
Well, I'm a
and
June
anytime
17th.
I played it, I lost.
Right.
So and every time he plays it, he wins, and it pays enormous amounts of money.
You got to stick with your own dates. And again, my birthday is June 17th, so I'm usually do the 617 167 box, which tomorrow would be including Epicenter. So watch, I got to probably do a 167 box.
You might have to rethink your whole $120 there.
You know what? I'm so fucked up right now. It's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, when you're on a losing streak, you can talk yourself into a lot of other losing, bets and propositions and wagers and things like that.
I'm sweaty. Hey, and I got a rag on you because I sent you the text last night. The Sun Sentinel is running the sale, digital subscriptions.
Yeah,
2 years for $18. The price of a $3.
Is that the Sun Sentinel or the New York Post?
No, that's the Sun Sentinel. I
thought it was the Post.
No, because Defo. I mean, look,
you can get it for less than that, Mike Mayo. It's $1. I sent it to you.
We're entering into a nice partnership with the Sun Sentinel, the fine folks that created the Let's Eat South Florida group along with me.
I should support them.
Yeah, I think you should support them.
I did for many years, though. I did subscribe for many, many years.
Because for 2 years, just think of this: 2 years for $18, you could read all the Dave Hyde columns that
I don't like reading stuff online. I really don't. I'm not a fan of it. Even if I'm sitting in a computer.
How much do you pay for your print New York Post subscription?
A ton, man. It's like a dime.
I want to hear the number.
It's almost a cost as if you had gone out to the newsstand and bought one. I mean, you don't get that much of a discount.
That's not my answer. Like for a full year, you're paying.
I don't know. Yeah, what is it? So let's say it was $2 a copy. You're talking $14 a week. Yeah,
seven sticks a year. It's like $700 a year.
But of course, it's a giant write-off for me.
And you won't fork over like a sawbuck for the Sun Sentinel for the hometown.
It's just that I don't read a lot of stuff online. I hate clicking on stuff. I don't like reading. I'm not like Lubie. I can't watch a game on my phone. I don't like that.
Out of respect for you, I wasn't going to eat on your show, on the Defo show this morning, but now you've left me no option.
What do you have? What do you have
to finish
left?
off the Italia, the prosciutto di Parma with mozzarella cheese and some nice tomato. This is the leftover from Il Paesano yesterday.
What was the over-under on number of sandwiches that you would consume in this month? Different sandwiches. And we're on with Gail Kappas, of course, of La Spada's fame for next Wednesday. All right?
This melts like a dream. It's just like a.
What is that? I mean, what is this hideousness you've
prosciutto? Prosciutto di Parma. Yeah. It's a nice, the aged ham.
Yeah. It looks like it came right off the streets of Italy there.
Their stuff's like great. That place is amazing.
They don't mess around too. There was some people that were making, what is the Italian sandwich again called? whatever they call it.
Italian.
No. I mean, it's like a common name out there for the sandwich, and it escapes me right now.
The caprese with the
sandwiches aren't a big deal there. I'm trying to think.
No, but what are they called? I mean, they're called something.
Paninis.
Paninis.
Panini.
There you go. Panini.
Hey, are you coming out today? We're doing a remote show from.
Yeah,
this,
I believe so. Now, where is this place at?
So it's very conveniently. It's out in Pompano. It's a little bit west of 95. It's close to the Paramutual facility where I think we'll both go to after the show. So
I have a few things I have to do after the show. But,
it's not a gambling day. Oh.
It doesn't look.
Anyway,
like it, no.
This is. I think it's called Broski or Broski or Brewski. I don't know. No, it has to be Broski. Cider Works. They actually make cider, not beer. But our friend Jeffrey, who runs this food truck, Jeffrey Eats, but we're going to be going inside. He's going to be creating a whole bunch of burgers and sandwiches for us for Sandwich Month. It's noon on the lunchbox, and it's not open to the public because they don't open the cider place until 4 p.m. on Friday. So they're opening especially for us just to do kind of a remote show. We'll sip some cider and chow down on some more sandwiches. And we're going to raise the total now. I'm at 38. I guess I'm going to be shooting for almost 50 because, today we'll go over 40. And, yeah, I definitely have hit the over. I don't know what the over-under that you established on it was for 31 days.
Well, we figured 31.
Yeah. Well, I'm way over that. So, and like I said yesterday to Nicky Mohan, it's like I don't know, call me Sammy Sosa, Aaron Judge, Mark McGuire. I just keep going for more. I'm just smashing sandwiches right over the wall. Just keep him coming.
Now, do we follow this somewhat with national? No, it's not National Salad Month. Until,
no, he's doing Visit Lauderdale. He's gonna go and visit a lot of their restaurants on there.
The Dine Out Lauderdale promotion.
Dine Out
like
deals.
No, you were supposed to come up with a V&S sub today, were you not? Boca Raton, everybody loves that place. V&S subs.
That's going to be Monday. Monday, I'm going to have a little spectacular leftover. Okay. I'm going to be like a squirrel gathering nuts. Over the weekend, I'll be gathering some sandwiches for Monday.
Oh, and Defo did set us up for Las Patas Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. Lauderdale by the Sea, Las Patas. Gail's all in on this. They suggested instead of getting one of those, what is that, like a 12-foot thing that, the ones I'm sure you've probably poached your way into some of the sky boxes when you were covering the Dolphins. Those things are horrible. The sandwiches.
Whatever Gail says, I'm going to accede to her wishes. Okay. She can make like 6 different types of sandwiches. I'll just keep adding to my total. Even throw a tuna in there for you, Defo. That's fine.
Oh no, absolutely. The tuna is a must. I mean, you were so wrong about that. It's funny too because with your just blind, biased, sort of foo-foo taste. You can't dig the fact that this is the most sensational tuna sandwich you will ever have.
No, it's great. It's fine if you're into that sort of thing. Yesterday's tuna sandwich was outstanding too. You missed a good one. No, we're going out Sandwich Month with a bang.
I mean, we're going to be olive oil and this and that. I mean, come on.
Monday I'll have V&S. I'm also going to have a sandwich in honor of what would have been my father's 90th birthday.
Oh, sweet. All right, beautiful.
He's a big deli guy, and so I'm going to get
corned beef on rye.
No, he was a tip tongue guy, so I'm going to get a tip tongue sandwich.
What's tip?
I'll give you a tip of my tongue here, man.
Well, tongue is the cow's tongue, and he likes the very front part of it is the most tender. The tip of the tongue. It's the most tender part.
I keep thinking of that scene in Midnight Express as you're discussing this when the guy bit into Rifki, the rat. Brad Davis, the actor there. I mean,
I'm going to go out to Pomperdale's over the weekend and pick up.
Oh, nice. That's a good spot.
In honor of my dad, and who would have been 90. But God,
the tip tongue, they have that at Pomperdale.
I did. I've been in touch. The owners were itching to get on the show, and I said, well, I don't know if we could get out there for a full show, but I definitely want to feature one of your sandwiches.
That's a good spot. People are happy there at lunchtime.
They said they have tongue, so I'm going to go out there and get a little lengua, as they say.
Dynamite chicken noodle soup, too. Pomperdale Deli, well known.
Yeah, that tastes great.
Chicken noodle soup.
So, looking forward to a lot more eating. And then Tuesday, we're going to do a remote show from Top Round Roast Beef Roast Beef Sandwich Shop in downtown Fort Lauderdale. Dave Chesal is the owner. Dave is a great guy. He also comes from a Jewish deli background, so he does a bunch of deli sandwiches besides the burger and the roast beef. He has all kinds of stuff. It's a great little shop if you've never been in there.
All right, we're going to check it all out. All right, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, 12 o'clock today. Where's the place again?
Broski Cider Works, somewhere in Pompano. I'll send you the address, Defo, and I'll give you $18 to sign up for the Sun Sentinel because
you know you're getting robbed there though because they have a deal for 6 months for $1.
Yeah, but 2 years, like because after the 6
well,
months,
my
$1,
math, I don't know, Mister Exact figure out calculator.
but you can't keep
it's
doing
like,
this
$4 for 2 years.
Yeah, but you can't keep doing.
Oh,
that.
you can't
then
keep doing it.
Then they charge you $12 a month after
okay.
that.
So
you'd rather lock in the 2 years because let's face it, Defo. At the end of 2 years, you might not be here.
It's possible. Christ. Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it, Mike Mayo.
No, that was terrible. That was a cheap shot.
I think I got more than 2 left. I really do.
I'm
not
putting the
banking
number.
on checking out.
You are healthy. You are definitely. I'm putting your over under right now at plus minus 14.5.
There's longevity in my family. That's the good news.
Yeah. And he takes his walks and he eats well. He's not like me.
The damage, though, was done by cocaine in the 80s. You know, and then a subsequent bout with similar addiction. I don't know if I looked at it as an addiction. It was just something that I like to do. But came again, kind of a rebirth of that whole thing in the late 90s, and it was like, okay, enough of that, right? Nice. When the guy pronounced my heart as being 100% good, the last time I got checked out by a doctor.
That's all you want to hear.
Well, no, I laughed at him. I immediately questioned his credentials as a heart guy. There was
he went to Trump University Medical School.
No way that was fine. He went to the University of Guam, this guy. I saw the shingle. All right, Michael, we'll catch you later at this place.
I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Oh, next week we got to do the big over-under bet on the Dolphin season with the dinner at Anthony's riding on it. The number is still 8 1/2 for their season.
Yes,
so
we're going
I believe so, yeah. We're going to give you your choice on that. You pick it either way.
I got to look at the schedule. I got to crunch my numbers and talk to various people and Chris Perkins, Dave Hyde, Mark Lawrence, and see what's going to happen. What's what. So.
You hate Stephen Ross, though. So, I would think that would be enough to influence.
But I love Mike
under.
McDaniel. And Tua, I don't know.
I like Tua. I think he's all right. Yeah.
We're going to see what he's able to do with Tyreek Hill. But if he can't connect with Tyreek Hill and it turns out to be like a bust, that's going to be.
That's going to be a big problem. No question. All right. Teddy Bridgewater. They'll be screaming for Bridgewater by week number 2. Mike Mayo, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambling Gourmet. Later on, Senator Patrick Leahy joins us on our Believe podcast. So check that out. And we'll see what happens with that. He's got a book out about his memoirs, and the guy's been senator since 1974, Lubie. How is that possible?
I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's good, to be brutally honest.
He's a Democrat, so he's okay with me. Yeah, right? Got to have. We'll ask him what he thinks about the modern day Republican as compared to back in the day, right? When old Dwight D was around. All right.
Have a good weekend, one and all.
Everybody, enjoy yourselves. Great having everybody on the show today. The professor, of course, Mark Lawrence, earlier the Greek, who's had a nice run here in the preseason, and Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. From Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
Hialeah Park, open till 5 today in the morning. It's 9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.